Welcome back to the 2016 Causeway Scrabble Challenge here in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. My name is Jesse Matthews. Chris May will be joining me back in the studio here very shortly. I talked to Nigel just before he got up on the stage here. He played Hubert, and Hubert actually won in their game, Table 2, but based on the lag pairings, this still has Jesse Day and Nigel playing as a result. They have already played once today. That was the first game we featured. Jesse, of course, won that game. That's up with Nigel. He's beaten Nigel twice this tournament already. He beat Nigel the day yesterday. First thing. Of course, we just saw Jesse play Harshan and lose that one on board one. We're going to recover shortly in his efforts here, and we've seen Zafik go down very quickly. I did not see the last letter on his rack, but I can assume that it was did not matter because that thing was present to be yes. So with Nigel's rack here, he's got really nice letters in general. Just a few that don't quite combine to make any 7 or 8 letter words on this board. So at least trying to score reasonably well because we've seen blazing start to that. And Nigel will want to not just score reasonably well, but also balance enough to ideally something about Daftik that it does is it's a scoring play, but also it's not blocky per se, but it doesn't hook with the S, of course, so he's got to make sure that things don't block too quickly. A play of with a V would potentially clutter things up for him early on, so he'd want to make sure that he does play it, and ideally he would, to balance that he doesn't lock himself up in the process. So Viga accomplishes that goal. It scores him reasonable points. He gets rid of your letters and does so the board. And when you look at this as well, he doesn't block when he plays down from the Z, which is actually okay long term, because while Jesse can score with the Z playing downward, he opens the board in the process of doing so. So the result is that there's no danger posed long term. So that's the beauty of that play there. Jesse has motioner as a result of this play. It goes down perfectly in that spot, so he's going to blaze ahead to an even bigger early lead. Zev, there's certainly some mixed feelings about straight up King of the Hill pairings the whole time. Some of the problems that some people have with it, like you said, is that you see similar players all the time. Ideally, you want to see the better players all the time. So if this happens to be Nigel and some of the other people, then you at least know the game's going to be higher quality. But yeah, then you can potentially get sick of seeing it over and over. But we've seen some variety already. The first day and a half here so far. We just had a non-Nigel matchup this round. We've seen Esther Perrins on board one yesterday, playing Nigel 3 times. And then another non-Nigel game she was playing yesterday. So even though it's thinking of the hill pairings and that favors players like Nigel being on board one longer term, we've seen a variety of players. So yeah, as a player at the top, it can be stressful in this setup to have to play Nigel so many times, assuming he continues to win. We expect that. But it's also people who purely love the game and want to play a high-quality game. It's good for them. Jesse, for example, in an interview on Facebook Live about playing Nigel, he just said it's for him the pinnacle of the game, that he gets the opportunity to play someone so good over and over again. He doesn't really see it as a bad thing if he loses, and sometimes to Nigel it's a learning experience. And I think that's part of when Chris has talked about Jesse's attitude. It really shows it there is that he sees this game as a continuous learning experience. That's what Nigel has said over and over again, that he also said the same thing. I'm going to pause here and welcome Chris May back to the studio. He went a bit of a hop out and kind of scurried over quickly as he saw we were back on the air.
Hi Jesse, hi everyone. Sorry about that. I needed to get a coffee and throat lozenges. Can I offer you a throat lozenge?
Sure.
To heal the wound. So fill me in on what's happened. I feel we've got another Jesse and Nigel match.
Yeah, Jesse got off a really nice early start with Saftig, and then Nigel played Viga and gave him a spot for Motioner. Wow. Nice early lead with Jesse. I was talking to Nigel with Viga. He left TRED, so I was talking about Viga. It gets rid of his clunkier tiles, and even though he leaves the deck open, if Jesse were to have played down, then he opens the board more.
Yeah, and the 2 eyes are beautiful.
Yeah.
Floated with that lead. Yeah.
And then besides that, because of blocking Zach, I was saying that Viga, if Jesse plays down with his head, the board is not blocked, which it has the danger of being close to the others.
Has anybody asked what Saftig means?
Actually, that hasn't come up. Do you know?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I suggested our viewers Google it.
Oh. Is that one of those things like lemon party that I wouldn't
No,
know
I think it just means ample bosomed.
Oh.
I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong in the chat.
Everyone's going to Google it. Be like, you jerk.
No, I genuinely think
Feels bad, man. So Jesse's played Dollop, which makes perfect sense to clear things off. And Nigel will, of course, have his spot to bonus response.
Indeed. So, I mean, I think we really need to know about Saftig is that it doesn't make the S.
Yeah, neither Saftig nor Softig. I'm going to assume it's German.
Yes, I think you assumed correctly.
Das ist sehr gut, ja.
So, is it just oriented for Nigel? There's nothing else happening here?
I've been looking for anything else possibly, but oriented was what jumped up at me right away.
Which is kind of good. I mean, I want to see this straight knockout to Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Like the contest. And there we go. Back in the game.
So I see he's not going to want to play Jam to be an oriented. Curious spot to the triple word score. That scores nicely. Let's see. Brendan J plays from E and oriented. Djembe, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So that's the point you were talking about before. I couldn't tell why you were.
Jam
Yeah.
with the A.
Yeah. I said.
Djembe.
No, I think Djembe looks great to me. It retains all its basically bingo leads, and PAR is actually very flexible. Chances of a bingo, but also chances to score well. Djembe is my default counter play. It's a handy little rack, so it's worth looking around for. Always worth looking around for. With this kind of set of tiles, but a little bit surprised that Djembe is not done by anything. Can Nigel bingo with his rack? Of
Corsair goes on the end of Dollop, assuming that Jesse doesn't play djembe over there. But he is going to play djembe. So Craig prefers Poodle to the in motion, because either way flip is being given up. Makes sense.
And yeah, well, Nigel still bingos here with Hoarders.
Oh yeah, the D in oriented. Yeah. It's going to be close to even game after these turns here.
Dust will settle. Oh,
but Jesse has got a nice rack.
Very, very good pick up for him. And he's got a Periant at work. Oh.
It will still be playable.
It will still be playable, just at worst. And one of the
he's got Pertain or anything else down at the bottom there.
Yeah. So the dust still hasn't quite settled. Jesse's going to win this bingo exchange because his bingo will be the higher scoring ones. So they'll both have random racks, and Jesse's going to have a nice big lead, but no blanks.
No blanks.
So still chances to do something here. You can develop the top of the board. That's the bottom being available. So they're under the E up to O1 as well. So there's still plenty of chances for this game to swing around again in Nigel's favour. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have opened it up. There's a few puns are coming flooding into the chat now.
Nice, Orlos, very nice. Oh, Nigel's got nice synergy, so never mind, the W ruined it, but everything else is good.
That is actually a very nice rack. It's not quite what we see. It's quack plus EW. That's what the direct camera feed showed.
Oh, wow.
That is a really quite a handy rack.
We quack, we quack. That almost sound like Elmer saying we crack, we quack.
No comment to make about it.
Oh, quacko.
Jesse's basically choosing between his bingo options here. I think 13C is inevitably where he'll place it. Just a question of whether it's Painter or Pertain. They look almost identical to me. I think probably Pertain is ever so slightly better because of the E. Double word instead of pain. That's what we see. So what we're going to do, there's a big score available for Quack 11E, which is the default play that leaps out. Whether he can improve on that is an interesting question. It's highly possible that there is something noticed. Nigel said, quack. Nigel has to think about the position though. He may end up playing quack. There's probably too many points to refuse, but it's kind of ruinous for the bingo chances down that bottom part of the board. At least above the Pertain and Orders.
Looks like he's thinking about something like Cape Help instead.
Nigel may want to retain slightly more fluidity with the bingo line. That's maybe why he's thinking a bit before playing his quack. And indeed, he did not like it.
Cask.
Not entirely surprised. Well, I'm a little bit surprised still, without having scored the two plays. Because W and K is less bingo than W and E in the leave, but positionally, there's a lot to be said for Castle, and I expect that that's why he's played it. If you disagree, please shout out and let us know. Anyone else surprised to see Castle go down?
I think one of the things with Quack as well, if you were to play it, is it puts the Q above a W or an E, and there are 2 U's left in the bag, plus both the blanks, so it gives up points he doesn't have to give up. Cask scores reasonably, doesn't offer the same back with the Q. And besides that, he keeps the W in the K for scoring opportunities later, so I think all those things considered. Plus, as Zeb just mentioned, it opens up all things combined with a nice play.
Yeah, the board is notably harder to defend and more complex to defend after Cask. Complicating the game, purely complicating the game, can actually be a very good strategy as the chasing player.
Oh, and he's got a blank on his next round. It's come out KEW and a blank. Jesse's meanwhile got Uvia's IE.
Excuse me.
There is only 1 8 if you take Nigel's letters. It's not available on the board, but there is just 1 8. For those of you who are looking for a nice little anagram puzzle, go to work and find the 1 there.
Too hard for me, mate.
I think you know this word.
Okay.
It would have come up for you before. I think. But maybe I just like lower probability words.
Maybe you're overestimating my knowledge.
Yeah, it's not playable on this board, but there's just 8.
Haven't seen it yet. So there's plenty of play in this position. 40-point difference is not all that much considering how bingo-y the board is and how bingo-y the pool is. So this is hard to defend. And given all the good stuff floating around that Jesse can't see, an outrunning strategy strikes me as very credible here, as opposed to keeping the bingo core. So I'm wondering about a play like Avice and Dollops, just purely to grab points.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Quack, guys, if you could bring it when you've got a moment. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and figure out this 8-letter anagram puzzle.
So he's played Uvia somewhere, it looks like, which is... No, the puzzle wasn't for that rack. It was for Nigel's rack, that's the puzzle.
So Uvia, I mean, I can't really argue with the strategy. It's a little of both. I mean, it's an attempt to grab points and to keep his own bingo core, as opposed to really committing for points in an outrunning strategy. And often I don't like those type of plays, but Uvia is so positionally good as well that I think there's a very good case for it.
I'm not sure if it's right, but I probably would have played for Uvia myself.
And we'll soon see what Nigel thinks of his position. Yeah, I solved it.
There you go.
Tube work.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Tube work is the one available in Nigel's
But
previous rack.
I had to check it. I'm really sorry if you can hear me clearing my throat here. I've got quite a bad cold, as some of you know. trying to soldier through that I was up most of the night coughing, so things are not that great in the health world of Chris May.
Running on adrenaline.
No, it's really exciting to be here and remembering what big tournaments are like. Nigel's balanced and
Quite
scored.
nicely.
Yeah. And we see the advantage of keeping the W. It worked out well for him. I mean, without the blank, it wouldn't have worked out so well necessarily. But it meant that he was able to keep the scoreboard pressure up while balancing for a bingo, and that's really a dream player as a chasing player, being able to do that. And the WK.
Oh wow, Cask actually ended up blocking 2 works on his next turn.
Wow.
And I'm sure he would have seen it in play.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
But since he played Cask, he had the same set of letters.
So, what does Jesse do? His lead is being narrowed. He's going to be a little bit suspicious of that Carl. He's got 2. Nigel has a chance to get, heavy scoring bingos, right? So those E's, those 2 identical bingo lines to be, which can't always be blocked on this turn. Meaning that blocking neither is a viable option, right? They're the 2 big bingo lines, and they can't both be blocked. So again, I'm thinking that Jesse's option here.
For the pure points, not necessarily because it's the best leave play, there's false and dollops as one particular option to score. If he were thinking positionally and for some reason wanting to open another spot on the board, he could also consider playing big IBE and or open a 7 line, but I don't think it's necessary. It's just an option to think about if you wanted to open up a 7 lane.
Yeah, I think that'd be a very brave play with 2 unpicked lines and a small bingo lead.
So he's going for...
Oh no, don't tell me he's even that Tiz.
Yeah, he's probably thinking of pies, P-I-Z-E.
That's a rough mistake, if that's indeed what's happened.
And the worst part is that Nigel will have a chance to use either lanes to bonus, and I would imagine he's going to use the bottom one, the top one.
So maybe a bit ruffled from his errors in the game. Jesse has made what really has to be counted as a fairly bad word knowledge mistake.
Yeah.
We've all done that kind of thing, but when it's got a Z in it, it should be fresh in the mind as a new addition to the word list. It's very easy to make these confusions, but really that shouldn't happen. ZITE, you should use a single solution. Not even sure it was positionally that wonderful a choice, so it's really a bit of a lapse there, do we have to say.
Yeah.
Like he didn't quite know what to do in the position and ended up really costing himself. Nigel knows a lot about his rack and is well positioned to take the initiative here. We're being asked which lane for the bingo.
I prefer the bottom, personally.
Yes, I think so.
Because we'll talk about this a little bit, because people probably want reasons for it. So my reasons, I'll see if you add them, is the bottom, what happens is he doesn't give anything back that isn't already open, unlike the top. And what would happen is if Jesse somehow had a bonus in this turn, which he doesn't, and played it to the E, anything he opened at the top right, Nigel can shut down in 1 turn by playing anything there. That would have been the same even without Jesse making a phony that offered more information, but yeah, I think the bottom.
Yep, completely agree. And in fact, had Nigel played between 01 and Jesse played with Casfield. So, and Nigel agreed as well. So now Jesse's in a real hole all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Actually, now that...
But let's not forget, Jesse had a massive lead at the start of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, Nigel, solid play, very, very canny positional play with Cask. I'm still not sure that I even feel that it's the right play, but it worked out beautiful. That's the kind of thing Nigel's capable of. He does not let the position go.
Yeah.
And he left the board the way he wanted it and has played it to perfection to get a 50 lead. Helped a little bit, a lot, I should say, really, by this phony finesse.
Now, on this turn, I actually would have strongly considered Fig with only one lane open now. I think I might have actually done that above the DE and dollop to open up a 7 on E to keep himself in. Oh, I just got X, S.
The position is so different from Jesse. 50 point deficit. He is going to find it extremely hard to win this game without bingoing himself. So, Fig at 4G, suggesting is certainly one way to do that. Can you play down from H1? I haven't seen anything.
I'm not seeing it off the top of my head. How about suggestions from out there watching? Mine is I'm going to stick with Fig at G because it opens up a 7 lane with an E that he has. Plus the E is open from the E and Djembe for 8s. But if you have better ones, I'd love to hear them and some of your reasons behind them.
I don't love Fig, partly because it just scores so few points. I'm not saying it's the wrong play at all.
I'm looking for scoring on the board. Problem.
And
like
the bottom left, the whole bottom left, so much of the board is totally ungoable, right? Like 80% of the board, no bingo's going to fit. That's a dream scenario for Nigel. Shuts down the N and O column. He easily wins this game 90% of the time, even if Jesse gets the second.
Well, that's why I don't like false.
Right. So it's imperative that Jesse and make sure that there are unblockable bingo lines right now. He has to do that. And he knows that. I'm absolutely sure.
And it's worth thinking briefly about versus something going up to create lanes for more 8s. But I think creating a 7 lane would be better than creating an 8. So it goes with Fig. Yeah. Good
suggestion. The only 8 contended play I saw was a glow, but I don't really like it. The bingos are all airballs.
So there is that. Nigel, because he has just A's as his vowels, can't easily block that spot, so Jesse needs to pull something amazing at this point.
So Nigel, blank unseen, switches here from attack to defense and see where he thinks the trouble part of the board is, or indeed whether he thinks he can outrun with that very heavy set of letters X, A, Y, S. S and X have more synergy, but
look at this.
Playing one at a time.
Endless is on Jesse Day's rack.
Yes, sir, there may yet be a trickster in that position. If he gets that down, then there's still an A hook on his side as well, so there could be another bingo going with an A on that second blank. So in fact, loads of play still in this position. Very exciting game.
Now, does Nigel have anywhere for a taxi or something similar to help his rack? Not quite on row 14, close. He does have a play like just tax down the score, but he's going to want to block the board, so I think he's going to pass on points this turn.
I suspect we might see a classic Nigel get rid of these good tiles over 2 turns. For example, he may play something like 14B tax, scoring well with the X. And setting up more play at 15A if he doesn't. He probably thinks Jesse has quite a lot of scoring tiles, right? So he's not going to be that worried about the underlaps 15. And with the Y and the H, he sort of get quite few points there next turn. It does give some counterplay, especially with an E, so he may not like that. But yeah, we see he's
getting the less obvious points first.
Right, he's keeping scoring insurance, and this is so Nigel.
Yeah, and Jesse's going to play endlesses. I see the letters going quickly. Absolutely needed to stay in the game, so we have ourselves a nice close one here. That's what we like to see.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think Nigel will bingo H, X, and S in them.
He'd need like Oxford or something.
But where this second blank goes is now going to make a massive difference.
So Nigel still has Wex, Axe, Opa, something plays, assuming he draws a decent consonant, which he has a pretty good chance of doing.
So we wait and see what the players have, really.
There we go, he has tackle and the blank.
Nigel Richards.
Those hot hands. We're just waiting to see what Jesse Day's rack is.
Well, that's really a very winning-looking rack for Nigel. That's what Jesse's got competitive here. Because with 6 in the bag, if he's got a bad rack, Nigel has probably got the firepower.
Yes.
Doesn't look great.
So good.
Nigel has all the tiles for all of the scoring spots on this board. For example, he's got TAISH, which he's actually put that on his rack, and 2. That keeps X blank and goes to a pretty and out finger lines, basically. And that's a brutal play. By the way, we haven't had any feedback on the sound of this game that I know of. Let us know if you're hearing this clearly. And, we're not fading in and out. We'd love to know that everything's been sorted.
Yeah, that our producers just walked into the room briefly. We were told earlier there was sound fading in and out. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think despite the deficit here, Taish looks like very, very, very strong play, leaving 1 in the bag. Jesse's got hopeless tiles, and Nigel will have the X and the blank for the end game. Loads of flexibility. The pool that Nigel's looking at is more or less neutral. There's nothing too scary in there for him. The worst tiles that you pick up to an X blank are probably 5 consonants, and if he's got that, then Jesse's so unbalanced. Nigel's going to win anyway with the blank, I should think. And I think that Taish that I suggested is exactly what we're going to see. Yeah, looks like almost a no-brainer.
It'll be yawned from Jesse most likely for the next turn next to that, unless there's something he needs to urgently block, and I'm not seeing that he could anyway. Nigel's strength is better.
So
I think yawned, honestly, he's just got to score. Hopefully have an out.
Well, he can, with 1 in the bag, he can commute. He may be able to find plays that win with a blank draw. Just conceivable. So he's looking at a pool of blank, B, E, E, I, S, and X. And I think you're right. He's going to need to find an outage from here to have any chance whatsoever of winning, given that he's got a 24-point deficit to make up already. Nigel certainly can't have 2 plays.
Wow. Nigel has buybacks underneath on the bottom to score it.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse's not going to risk it. But from his point of view, it's just conceivable that with a blank draw, there is a way to do it. Having said that, I have no clue what it would be.
I think it's still fading in and out a little bit.
Only Craig is saying that. Others are saying the sound is fine. So I think maybe let's not.
It might be on his side.
Let's not touch it.
Okay, it's Sangai, early on when there were problems, he had the problems. This time it's
Okay.
I mean, the classic play here to win yourself the game is to make a 1-tile fish that sets up a big withdraw with blank that's unblockable. So you'd be looking at a 1-tile fish on row 2, setting up a triple lane that
could
only
he,
the blank. But
so like Ut perhaps on the T and Taish with newly left over. Does that have anything? Because U, of course, is a hook that plays up there.
The X.
But Nigel is the X to block.
Yeah. Looking at I was looking at YA, but the R unfortunately looks that. It really doesn't look promising. That's actually what bingo you're actually trying to get as well. Yeah, it looks like a hopeless position for Jesse now. A real shame for Phony he played.
Yeah, that made the difference. One turn. He's got Yond lined up, so he's already seen it. He's just thinking
He
the
knows
merits of it.
He knows it's a loss. He knows. You know, every single rack that Nigel has, except for an X, has Ibex for a big score, which is going to just about anything. And if the X is in the bag after Yond, then LOXU is going nowhere, and Nigel's going to win with an album too. So it's very, very grim. He'd need the magic of bingo. He's not going to. There's no way of setting one up that Nigel can't deal with, as far as I can see. But no one can blame him for running down the clock, and that's what one must do. If, you know, happens to be a chance on the board, and he missed it, he'd be kicking himself. For everyone watching the feeds, on my laptop, I'm not able to load placings beyond round 9. Is that the same for everyone?
It looks like Oliver has mentioned standing, so it may not just be you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna duck out and see if the notice outside has the next round posted, and then hopefully we can preview that for you while this game makes its way to its Nigel victory.
Ying, I think part of it might just be familiarity with the AU pair program being used in this part of the world. Tish being a fairly dominant one used more in North America and some of Europe. So I think it's just honestly just preference time, what you do in routine. Chris is making his way back and hopefully has an answer for us.
Yeah, so we get a new player on table 1 next round. We're going to see Hubert Wee of Singapore in action.
Against Nigel?
Against Jesse.
Oh, great. So Jesse's going to opt for Yond, which is the one that you got to play and just accept that you're not winning this game.
Great.
And he's drawn an I.
Which I don't think is going to help him much, right?
No, there's no E for Louis, no P for Poilu or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, Nigel can optimize his rack here by going out in 2, I think.
Well, he can just play Ibex and do anything the next turn.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't just have to play.
Oh, he might not have to play that right away.
Oh, no, it's an R.
Oh, hour. Never mind. It's completely different. Could we see Jesse's rack, please?
I think it is an R. Still not sure if it goes out, actually.
Okay, yeah, Backle is showing the same, so it is Lauer. And there goes Ibex.
And that, yeah, well, there's not much of interest we can say about this endgame, really. It's a very, very basic stitch-up.
The GGTY. So we'll have one more game then before lunch, and then
That's
6
right.
after. A marathon for the afternoon.
Next game is scheduled to begin only 7 minutes from now
Yeah.
at 11:30.
Unsurprising. Jesse thinks it's time.
So again, what we've seen here, as we saw in the series of games Nigel played with Steve yesterday, is the difference between a really excellent top player, as Jesse Day is, and Nigel. Those moments of uncertainty, inaccuracy that we've seen from Jesse over the last couple of games have cost him both games.
Yeah.
And Nigel just does not make those mistakes, almost ever. Nigel doesn't give up after those huge early disadvantages strike. Saftig, Moshina. Your heart sinks against a player as strong as Jesse. Nigel doesn't care.
No respecter of persons. To borrow the biblical terminology.
You know, if we're drawing any lessons from games, the player of Cask, the positional player of Cask that he made, which 95% of experts would have played without considering Cask. And I think there's a real discussion to be had on that play, but thinking about Nigel's reasons for making it is the way to learn from his play here.
What's up, Booms?
We've got David Eller back in the studio, who has also just finished his game. Nigel has won this one against Jesse, so yeah, Jesse is still 2 wins for Nigel in this tournament, and Nigel's 1 over him, so lead the series, but obviously to continue to keep that alive. Yeah, Cask won Jesse off to a really early lead, but Nigel doing his thing, crawling right back in the devastating blow, I think.
So we'll see you in 5 minutes. Jesse Davis.
All right, signing off briefly. Until then, we will see you here again in July.